So before we get to that point, पहिला सुरु चाहिँ डलर कसरी एउटा ग्लोबल करेन्सी नै भयो. आई थिङ्क त्यहाँबाट सुरु गर्नु पर्यो हामीहरूले हैन त. डलरको हिस्ट्री के हो? अल अफ अ सडन हाउ डज वान कन्ट्रीज करेन्सी, आई एम नट इभन स्योर इफ द्याट इज अलाउड. इज द्याट समथिङ द्याट इज फेभरेबल फर अल कि एउटा देशको करेन्सीलाई नै वर्ल्ड करेन्सी बनाइदियो भनेर भन्छ त त्यो त एउटा हिसाबले त मोनोपोली जस्तो पनि देख्यो, एउटा हिसाबले अनफेयर टु अदर नेसन्स जस्तो पनि देख्यो. तर हाउ डिड द वर्ल्ड सबैजना डिसाइड गरेर हो कि कसरी हो डलर इज गोइङ टु बी द ग्लोबल करेन्सी भनेर त्यो पोइन्टमा कहाँबाट पुग्यौँ हामी?
वाउ, यु नो द वे यु पुट द क्वेसन, जुन ढङ्गबाट तपाईँले प्रश्नलाई राख्नुभयो नि, जुन चाहिँ मेरो मनमा आएको, I wish you were one of the negotiators at that time. That's exactly the issue was raised, that it is not in the interest, global interest. This point was raised. Okay, let me tell you a story about world economic order. अहिलेको हैन विश्व आर्थिक व्यवस्था त्यस वर्ल्ड इकोनोमिक अर्डरमा डलर how does it come? सारा विश्वमा for your capital movement यहाँबाट उता पठाउनु पर्यो डलरमा, यहाँ त त्यसलाई ट्रेड ट्रान्ज्याक्सन गर्दाखेरि सेटलमेन्ट गर्नु पर्यो डलरमा. कहाँ एउटा अमेरिकन ब्याङ्कबाट अर्को अमेरिकन ब्याङ्कले क्लियर गराए हुन्छ अथवा वेस्टर्न ब्याङ्क्स जे होस् होइन. हाउ डिड इट गेट सच अ म्यासिभ पावर? वे डिड when did it start and how? Let's start from the start. 1944 मा जब वर्ल्डको द्वितीय विश्वयुद्ध भइरहेको थियो, टुङ्गिन पाएको थिएन, त्यति बेला 1944 मा यो ब्रिटन वुड्स भन्ने ठाउँमा, यो चाहिँ न्यू ह्याम्पसायरमा छ, त्यहाँ चाहिँ दे मिन्स द डेभलप्ड कन्ट्रिज लेड बाई अमेरिका, दे वेयर टकिङ अबाउट द इस्टाब्लिसिङ कुनै सिस्टम त बनाउनु पर्यो होइन, among the whole, all the member countries, all the countries, यो कस्तो व्यवस्था बनाउनु पर्ला. सो कुनै घर बनाउँदाखेरि युनिटी पिलर होल्ड्स द हाउस बिल्डिङ. त्यस्तै कुनै व्यवस्था बनाउँदाखेरि युनिट पिलर. त्यो वर्ल्ड, त्यो विश्वको आर्थिक र राजनीतिक व्यवस्था बनाउनलाई पनि पिलर चाहिन्छ. त्यो पिलरको पहिलो पिलर स्तम्भ इज वाट इज कल्ड इन्टरनेसनल मोनिटरी फन्ड, IMF. अनि दोस्रो पिलर इज विश्व ब्याङ्क. तेस्रो पिलर इज वर्ल्ड ट्रेड अर्गनाइजेसन्स, WTO. र यदि राजनीतिक पनि ल्याउने हो भने चौथो चाहिँ संयुक्त राष्ट्र सङ्घ, युनाइटेड नेसन्स. दिज आर द 4 पिलर्स अन विच वर्ल्ड पोलिटिकल एन्ड इकोनोमिक अर्डर इज रेस्टेड. लेट्स कम ब्याक टु फर्स्ट पिलर, IMF. IMF को नेगोसिएसन भइरहँदाखेरि मुख्य यो दुईवटा कन्ट्रीको बिच भयो, अमेरिका बेलायत. अमेरिकाको नेगोसिएसन टिम वाज बिङ हेडेड बाई दिस गाइ कल्ड जन डेक्स्टर व्हाइट, मिस्टर व्हाइट. Britain was being led by John Maynard Keynes, first class economist, and White was nobody in terms of knowledge, in terms of fame, in terms of stand. But then he had the gold. He had the power economy, you know, the British economy was very weak. US economy was number 1. So त्यति बेला दुईटा देशको नेगोसिएसन हुँदाखेरि यसमा चाहिँ दे वर टकिङ अबाउट क्यापिटलको मुभमेन्ट कसरी गर्ने एउटा देशबाट अर्को देशमा होइन. अनि त्यो ट्रेड हुँदाखेरि, ट्रेड ट्रान्ज्याक्सनको हुँदाखेरि कसरी, अनि यसरी एउटा ब्याङ्क एउटा देशले अर्को देशले तिर्दाखेरि त्यो कसरी एउटा ब्याङ्कबाट अर्को ब्याङ्कसँग त्यो ट्रान्ज्याक्सन क्लियरेन्स हुन्छ, अनि कुन करेन्सीमा आदान प्रदान गर्ने, यो जम्मै कुराहरू त्यति बेला भएको थियो, त्यो नेगोसिएसनमा आइरहेको थियो. र त्यति बेला यो जन मेनर्ड किन्सले भनेको थियो कि लेट्स क्रिएट ए न्यू करेन्सी कल ब्याङ्कोर, BANCOR, ब्याङ्को होइन, नोबडिज करेन्सी. अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ वी विल डिभाइड त्यो अर्थव्यवस्था हेरेर होइन तिमीले यति पाउँछ तिमीले अनि त्यसैको आधारमा होइन अनि स्लोली त्यो कन्ट्रीको अर्थव्यवस्था बढे अनुसार त्यसको सप्लाई पनि बढ्दै जान्छ होइन त्यो ब्याङ्करको सप्लाई अनि त्यही अनुसार कोटा डिस्ट्रिब्युट भएर जान्छ देन द सिस्टम विल वर्क द्याट वाज बेलाइट तर मिस्टर व्हाइट he wanted US currency to be the unit to carry that antarashtriya ayat niryat. You see, the one who holds gold sets the golden rules. So त्यसैले त्यो Maynard Keynes, his point was valid, but he could not prevail. So dollar was considered as a currency for international transactions. This was 1944.
So before that के थियो डलरलाई एस्टाब्लिस गर्नुभन्दा अगाडि ट्रेड कसरी भइरहेको थियो
But remember, this was the war period.
Yeah.
It was a the gold standard, goldसँग लिङ्केज थियो, गोल्ड स्ट्यान्डर्ड थियो. त्यसपछि the whole trade was broken, होइन. So system was not really working from that angle, in that sense. Prior to, like I said, this was not the normal period. One major war just finished, another war already, you know. अब यो डलर चाहिँ there was a little bit more discussion, more reluctance, more हिचकिचाहट. अनि अमेरिकाले के भन्यो भने we will not print without some guidance. किनकि त्यो प्रिन्ट गर्यो भने त धेरै त्यो it is unfair, you know. त्यसैले we assure you that we will not print beyond limit or something, you know. We will be guided by some whatever the policies, procedures, rules. Not only that, प्रत्येक $25 जसले दिन आउँछ त्यसलाई 1 ounce of gold चाहिँ हामी दिन्छौँ. This is a legal commitment. In other words, now that standard was set, $35 per ounce of gold. US संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका stands ready. जसले $25 दिन्छ त्यसले 1 ounce दिन्छ.
So when you say कि धेरै प्रिन्ट गर्दिन भनेर जुन प्रमिस गर्यो, लेट्स से मसँग रिजर्भ गोल्डको छ भनेर भन्दा प्रिन्ट गर्न पाइयो होइन र मसँग जतिको रिजर्भ छ त्यतिको भ्यालुको प्रिन्ट गर्न पाउनु पर्ने हो.
त्यो ओके इट शुड बी ब्याक बाई गोल्ड. त्यो पनि बियोन्ड चाहिँ thou shall not, होइन. अनि तर त्यति बेला द्याट्स एक्ज्याक्टली वाट ह्यापन देयर. त्यो जुन कमिटमेन्ट गरेको थियो त्यो अनुसार भइदिएन. किनभने 1960s मा यो भयो 1944 को कुरा हामी गरेछौँ. 1960s मा अमेरिकामा लिन्डन जोन्सन द अमेरिकन युएस प्रेसिडेन्ट त्यसले ग्रेट सोसाइटी भन्ने एउटा सोसियल रिफर्म ल्याएको थियो टु हेल्प द पोर, फुड एड फर द पोर, सेल्टर फर द पोर, हेल्थ फेसिलिटिज फर द पोर. एन्ड त्यसमा चाहिँ आई थिङ्क दे स्पेन्ट ह्युज अमाउन्ट अफ मनी, अबाउट $30 billion in those days. This was the Great Society by Lyndon Johnson. अनि त्यति बेला त्यो पनि अगाडि केनेडीको पालामा there was a huge space program to get man on the moon. And that they spent over $165 billion. $165 billion for man on the moon.
We're not talking about today's $165 billion. No. That's insane.
Yeah. And $30 billion for Great Society. Then massive expenses in Vietnam War. That broke the camel's back. त्यति भइसकेपछि the rest of the world, they are not blind. They started to suspect. I think the way Americans are spending money, I don't think they have equivalent gold to support that. The first country to lead that group was France. And the president was Charles de Gaulle. De Gaulle said, look, from the very beginning, he didn't like that exorbitant privilege being given to US. So tell me, look, that is the commitment. Here is my $300 million. I want my gold. He went. Normally, के गर्थ्यो भने, suppose I bought 100 tons gold. And then all I get is, now the owner is Omkar, and it is the physical amount is in Fort Knox, still in America. Just have the paper to claim that. That De Gaulle said, does not make me happy. That won't enough. I want this to be physically transported to Paris. And he did. Not only he did, he sent a battleship. It was a different days, different time. And that was De Gaulle. And France is always a little bit more independent. And that was quietly followed by Spain. They bought 30 million, 35 million. No, I'm sorry. Spain let 60 million gold.
So basically they had dollars in reserves. I'm going to give you back your dollars. Give me the equivalent amount of gold.
They had dollar.
So when we talk about like 300 million, reserve dollars. कि सबै नै डलर्स डिक्लेयर गर्दै हो
अनि त्यो अलिअलि पनि बढी हुन सक्छ That's why you had to have that's how it starts why you need to keep the international reserve भइपरि आउँदाखेरि डेली ट्रान्ज्याक्सनको लागि पनि हैन like France, Spain, any country they would have to have a certain amount of dollar otherwise you are bankrupt. अनि England wanted to buy $3 billion. America did not give. I see America and France, Belite, America, same language. Little bit of different relation, right? The details is not there, but anyway, they put a request, they didn't get it, they were not given. It was today, coming back to your question, it was 15 August 1971. आजको 53 वर्ष अगाडि तर आजको दिन Nixon, America was frightened. Man, if I let it go like this, world Sara, or God knows, it's all Timbuktu. Every country is going to come here and ask, give my gold, right? And then he said, you know what he said? I have directed the Secretary of Treasury Connolly, Secretary of Treasury, Arthamantri, Connolly, his name was Connolly. I have directed the Secretary of Treasury Connolly to suspend temporarily, quote unquote, temporarily, the convertibility of dollar into gold. And that temporarily still remains, has not been removed. So that's how dollar is still a global currency, but that assurance of linkage with gold is out. But the moment it is out, no linkage, no relation, what do you do with that dollar now? Not if it's a fiat currency now. Means backed by nothing other than goodwill
and trust.
And it so happened, no choice, Mazburi ka naam, whatever. Okay, so त्यसपछि गोल्ड हुँदासम्मको त्यो चाम थियो त्यो नभएपछि डिमान्ड फर डलर आफूलाई चाहिने त लाग्छ तर पहिलेको जुन निर्धर भएर राखिन्थ्यो त्यसमा त अलि आँच आउने भयो हैन अब व्हाट फर त्यसैले यु नो व्हाट दे डिड इन 1973 June in the month of June 1973 Nixon went to Saudi Arabia and had a meeting with King of Saudi Arabia Faisal and they got into an agreement that from now on all international transaction, sale and purchase of oil will be only in US dollar. अबदेखि सारा ओइल किन्ने बेच्ने जमिन खाली डलर मात्र हुनुपर्छ. Saudi Arabia was the chief supplier. त्यसले हुन्छ भने चाहिँ हुन्छ. And now suddenly गोल्डको त्यो चाम नभए पनि ब्ल्याक गोल्ड आयो. अब ओइल त सारा संसारलाई चाहिन्छ. सारा संसारलाई ओइल चाहिन्छ भने ओइल चाहिनलाई डलर हुनु पर्यो. Now there's an infinite demand for dollar. Now again you are back to the driving seat, right? And त्यसको in return what Saudi Arabia got it? We will provide protection, military protection to your oil facilities. And we will also supply necessary military weaponry. So Saudi was happy. Why? Now you will ask, why? What has got to do with Saudi Arabia? Why will they so easily accept? Because of the timing. 1973, June, that was the time when there was a massive war between Arab and Israel. The 6-day Arab-Israeli war. So the fear of will something happen in the mind of Saudi Arabia was very real. So when America comes and gives that protections, they grabbed it. And America, that was a windfall gain for America. Now dollar and that power still remains. And just to give you one example, you know what happened in year 2000? There was a war in Iraq, right? America destroyed the whole thing. It was pushed the country back to Stone Age. You know why? Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
We all believe that. There was a massive narratives everywhere. That was the time when Saddam Hussein was trying to do oil transaction in EU, European Union, EU, because EU was just being introduced by the European Union's EU currency. So when Saddam Hussein tried to shift transit from dollar to EU, the rest is history. Do I have to complete? Not it. You want another example? Libya. Libya wanted to transact oil in terms of gold.
Yeah.
So the rest is history. So therefore, why dollar becomes international currency, that still remains. But remember, it's very important. The East country must have very good backing of USD, otherwise it can destroy your economy, your currency. And that's exactly what happened in 1997. 1997, Thailand, the Western banks suspected that $1 adequate China one. And they wanted, exactly that's when they wanted, give our investment was in the dollar. They ran out. And the whole Asian crisis, financial crisis in 1997, it started from Thailand. And this was, that flattened Southeast Asia, East Asia. We were still under, this is all part of the IMF we are talking about. World Economic Order कसरी हुन गयो, यो global currency कसरी भयो. It is all through the negotiation in IMF, and further developments. अब IMF को त्यो मात्र हैन, त्यति बेला 1944 and now 2024, 80 years, and lot of water under the bridge. तर जुन किसिमले IMF त्यति बेला बनाइएको थियो, त्यसबाट nothing changed, as if the world remains status quo.